Hello, we are back.
We are back.
And I know episode 4. I'm the one keeping count. We are back for episode 4.
All right, fantastic. Nobody has to take their shoes off to count that high yet.
No, not yet. Okay, so the topic today we put in the hands of LinkedIn, and we each posted a poll. And interestingly, on my poll, 2 of the 3 options tied, but on yours, you had a runaway
Clear
choice.
leader. Clear leader.
So that's what
Yeah.
we're going to go with today.
Okay. And
And
that
so-
is
Yes, go.
performance
Versus
brand awareness.
and reach, right?
Yeah, in influencer marketing.
Okay.
Okay.
We're just gonna take turns with each word.
Yeah.
That should be charming.
We'll have to practice that off camera.
Yes.
That's a good skill to have. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that mine was and it even gained speed over the week.
Yeah.
It
So
took
I
on more.
think, I can give you my historical perspective on this, and then we can kind of run with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure my experience is we've both been in this for a very long time and have a similar kind of trajectory of how our career and influencer went down. So
Yeah.
this story is going to probably be exactly the same as yours would be. But so I really started working on influencer marketing when I was at a PR agency. And when I first founded Sway Group, most of our clients were PR agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Their direct to consumer wasn't so much of a thing back then. We're talking 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything we did in influencer marketing, and we didn't even have the metrics then that we have now, but everything was about impressions and reach. So how many people are seeing this? And certainly back then, we were all just guessing at stuff. You were going by how many followers someone had and assumed that many people saw it. And then a lot of our PR agency clients would then multiply that by 3 or 4. So that's a thing. But
I didn't know that.
So it was
That's
all
great.
about awareness and reach, very much those PR metrics that are tried and true. And then a few things happened. So one, as I just alluded to, metrics have gotten way more refined and automatic and exact. And we now know so much about every piece of content. We know how many people saved it, how many people shared it, number of comments without actually counting each one. I used to have people sit there and count every comment. We know how many likes. We know how many people actually saw it. We know how long they saw it for. There's just a ton of data that we have. And then, of course, we know if someone clicks. And our clients know if someone buys as a result of that click. So one piece of what has happened is that technology has changed. So we actually now have the capability to know if a piece of content is driving a conversion. The other thing that has happened is the explosion in D2C, direct to consumer. We now have so many more entities online who are selling product, and they are judging the success of their marketing based on how low they can get that cost per acquisition. And because we have the metrics and because they have that need to sell stuff, I started to see a few years ago this okay, well, we know if they're buying and we need them to buy. So therefore, influencer marketing must be what we're going to be using now to get people to buy. And I am judging the success of this campaign based on how low you can get my CPA.
Right. Oh,
and I call
you said a mouthful. Yes, Danielle, coming out swinging. I love it. So you're calling bullshit on all of it. What does that mean? Start us from the start.
Just because you can measure something doesn't mean that that is the key metric of success. And I think that there are very few influencers. We talked about this a bit last week. There are very few influencers who are great at getting someone to click right away. The first time I see that person mention it, I'm going to click and buy. the regular rules of marketing didn't somehow dissolve overnight. People still need to see something 6 to 8 times before they decide to make a purchase. I don't know why so many people have forgotten that that's a thing. And you're not going to get, like, the funnel's called a funnel for a reason. There has to be some level of awareness before there is a purchase made in most instances. And so I don't know, just because you can measure it and just because you need that sale to be made, why does that suddenly delete the entire top of the funnel? Like, why isn't awareness important anymore? That's what I call bullshit on.
Right. Oh, and you've said so much to unpack there. I don't know where to start, because I think about the dating analogy in marketing, that we've gone from asking our consumers to go out for a cup of coffee, or maybe take in a movie, maybe have a date, maybe go away for the weekend, and right to let's get married. Like, let's, hop into bed together, whatever it might be. And the only reason I say it like that is because, and this is another point, influencers versus affiliate marketers, right? Using influencers as affiliate, as a sales channel, I think those are very different. And so you're going to get a different consumer response from that. It's not that it may not work, but it's the difference between, hey, you seem interesting, can we have a cup of coffee? And hey, let's jump in bed together. Does your brand, is it ready for the ramifications of a program that's entirely hard-hitting, right in their face, selling, or versus awareness, top of funnel, warming them up, developing brand loyalty, affinity, equity with your consumers? I think there's a place for both, but you have to tease them out versus just lumping everything into, let's just sell.
And the thing that we haven't touched upon yet, which I think is really important, is what about from the perspective of the influencer? So if there's this expectation that they are going to create this gorgeous and compelling piece of content, they're going to take the time to put together a storyboard, to generate the video, to make this video, to promote it, and they don't have any guaranteed payment coming from that, which they don't necessarily have control over that whole process. Like, they're not selling it themselves. It's either through TikTok Shop or an Amazon or on the client's site, which might not be working super well or be loading slowly, or
totally. So you've jumped into, like, to back it up into the 101 piece around this, is that if we're looking at it as a performance metric and a sales conversion tool, often the deals for the creators, influencers involved include a percentage of that sale versus an upfront contracted fee for that gorgeous photography, video, all the planning, all the editing, the time. It's an opportunity cost for the influencer then, because they're hoping they get paid on the back end when they could have filled that spot with a paying client. I mean, paying as in upfront, I want to do the awareness play. That's a whole sticky mess. You're right. Absolutely.
And the people who are doing a great job at selling on their feeds with affiliate. So one that I buy stuff through all the time, she was a blogger back in the day, and she was on our original roster. So Sarah James, her handle is Whirl, WHOORL, and she's like a year younger than me and has similar coloring and is absolutely amazing at makeup and has great fashion. I can't afford any of the clothing she showcases, but I can afford, like, mascara. But so she showcases all this stuff, but she talks about it like, if there's something, the reason her stuff works is because it's the products that she's already using. She knows that she can include an affiliate link. She's adding that on her own because she knows that people trust her, and she is doing that on her own. They're not checking her content. They didn't reach out to her, and she's posting it as many times as she needs to make however much money she feels that she can make out of that. That is when it works. Affiliate works really, really well. But to make this leap, like, hey, these few people can sell something and they're choosing to do it on their own for just affiliate. So let's reach out to all these other people, most of whom probably can't do a good job at this, and then ask them to create the content with no guarantee that they're going to make any money. Like, it just doesn't, it's nonsensical to me.
Right. And call that the standard of our industry. Like to say, now that's what influencer marketing is. I think
Right.
that's what I take umbrage. It's a sidetrack. I'm going to mention it very quickly. At the same time, we're seeing sales fatigue with TikTok Shop and with everybody saying, oh, influencers are selling too much and it's becoming obnoxious and we're wearing out and we're scrolling past it. Now you have to be not thumb stopping and scroll stopping. Now you need to blend in. And so that's a whole other can of worms, that it's what's old is new and what's new is old. But I want to get back to something you kind of touched on when we started seeing clients asking us to create metrics and report success, a KPI around sales conversions. Our big red flag was, to your point, we know the influencers are going to nail this. They're going to have that beautiful content. They're going to be really well thought out about how they integrate this brand into their recipe or their lifestyle. But as soon as we send a consumer off of that content, where are they going? What does it look like?
Right.
Is it functioning? Is it a hot mess? Most of the time it was back then. And we would not put our name on that. We would not put any guarantees behind that because, and as I talk to my community about the performance versus brand awareness question as part of this poll, what I heard people say was, and this is a deeper dive we can go into, but the sales conversion provides those hard metrics you just talked about, the cost of acquisition, just baseline sales numbers to offset the investment, any profit to offset the investment in the influencer. So you get hard metrics, and that's very appealing and alluring. And it's a little, as we're poking at, maybe a mirage. But what you give up is control. You give up I know what an influencer is going to create. I know what their content is going to look like and how the program is going to roll out and how wonderful and on point it's going to be. And then the consumer is off onto a landing page that got created maybe 2 weeks ago that's glitchy, wrong. Like, there's a lot of marketing psychology around leading people from an ad, which an influencer post is an ad, to a landing page that doesn't match visually or emotionally, and it throws people off. So now you could be suppressing sales. Like, there's just so much that can go wrong there in return for hard metrics.
How many potential clients have you had come to you? I mean, not an exact number, but a little or a lot, asking to do a program just for a percentage of sales.
Are you asking, like, did they want to pay us as an agency?
Like,
percentage?
I would say over the last
Even
2
one
years,
is too many.
dude.
One is a lot.
We get so many inbounds coming in saying, like, we want to do this on commission only. We can give this percentage to the influencer, and then don't worry, for you, you can take a percentage of that. And I'm going to sound like sexist here, but like, it's always a dude, and it's always like, no, this is going to be great. Like, this person, she has 1 million followers. And so even if 1% of her people buy the product and it costs this much, and then they're going to get this percent, and then you get this percent. Like, I've literally had guys telling me that I am going to personally be making 6 figures a month off of this scheme that they came up with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy.
That should be our next poll, is how many people are making 6 figures, not the influencer side, but the agency side, who does the strategy and the campaign organization and the communication and the troubleshooting and the compliance and the onboarding and the paperwork and the tax payments and all of this. How many are making 6 figures? Because I'm pretty sure that cat would be out of the bag if that were a true thing. So we have had that happen, and that they wanted to pin performance on our like, they wanted us to have quote unquote skin in the game.
Which makes it sound so appealing, right? Oh, you'll have skin in the game.
Like, I'm telling you, I have a lot of skin in the game.
Yeah,
without that
there.
piece. Yeah, it is there. I fret over these things. We're focused on them. step by step going through it with our clients to make sure everything goes off without a hitch. I don't want to back away from that model with like, I don't need more stress in my life, but it will take it's just a bad model. It will take my team's eye off the ball. It will take the influencers. We're going to get pushback around this because a lot of people say that's what influencer marketing is the performance piece. And the other feedback I got was that because it has hard metrics and a bottom line that's tangible, it's easier to pitch to the internal C-suite, and it doesn't get cut as fast as the awareness marketing does when budgets are slashed.
But what's crazy, there's so many metrics there that aren't conversion that are helpful and are so much better than traditional media that's getting so much more of a spend. Like I think of, there's a client we had years ago. It was like, I think it was like early days of COVID or maybe even right before. And we were doing a program promoting, it was like a QSR company, so quick service restaurant, and we were promoting their app for downloads.
Okay.
And we got low six figures for this campaign, and they must have felt like they got enough app downloads because they came back to us for another program. They never shared with us how many downloads there were,
Okay.
because then
Yep.
maybe we would have charged more.
Right.
But then in looking, it's a large company, so I was able to see their media spend in the trade pubs and all of that, and they were spending $10 million on TV alone just for that one time period.
Mm-hmm.
And so to think that this little, $100,000 campaign, let's call it, is being held to a higher standard on conversion than a $10 million TV campaign where you don't know if someone's running to the bathroom when the ad is showing or fast forwarding through it or all of those things. It's odd.
Attribution is still such a messy thing. And you mentioned PR agencies being your original client. Well, influencer marketing came out of the PR earned media world. So to your point, when we would measure these things, often, not anymore, it would be compared to a similar ad value in a print publication, which to your point, who knows who sees the ad at the back of Vogue magazine before it gets thrown out.
Well, and I'm telling you, I mean, having worked at a PR agency, they take the circulation and they multiply it by 4. Every PR agency does that because magazines are being passed around in doctors' offices. I mean, that's not a thing anymore. We're all playing Wordle while we're waiting.
That's right.
Like it's not a thing.
So true. Yeah.
So it's like we're providing these exact, beautiful, gorgeous metrics that tell you exactly everything that happened, and we're being compared against something that's just vapor.
The other thing I have found in working with brands and clients that want the sales conversion is, I hate to say it, but oftentimes I poke around at, well, what's your lifetime value of a customer, of a buyer? And what's the cost of acquisition across other media buys or channels? And they don't often have that. So to your point, it's like, let's just plug influencer marketing in there as the magic fix to everything without really dialing in, what does that mean on the reporting side? What is that going to look like when this is all said and done? What does success look like other than the cost of acquisition or bottom line sales? But let's talk about the awareness piece then. How are you pitching that? How are you coming back at, because again, I heard from my folks who voted, it feels like an either or proposition sometimes that you have.
Like it's either conversion or awareness.
Yeah.
We build the campaigns accordingly. We were joking about it today. We got an RFP and they wanted 12 different options, program options in it.
Oh boy.
Which, bless her heart, my amazing director of strategy, Tracy, made it happen. But they wanted to see 3 or 6 options that were about awareness, and they wanted to see 6 options that were about conversion.
Okay.
And we built the program differently. We used more smaller, like lower tier influencers on the conversion one. So we threw in more nanos. There were more micros. We set up on the options that included paid amplification. We made that specific to converting and getting people to click through to the landing page. Like the entire program was set up differently. And then we did the awareness options, and that had some more higher reach influencers, still a range, but more of those higher reach influencers. And we set up that paid amplification totally differently. And it was more to get as many video views as possible. And so, I mean, that's how we're handling it, is we're having a conversation. What are you trying to accomplish here? And let's build you a campaign that addresses.
Which I also have to say, you're taking the budget on the nano side and brilliantly still plugging in awareness, because you're you can use more of those influencers at a lower price point. So awareness does not play a part in the conversion play.
Right. And then the other thing I want to say that we've been pulling out of our hats or pockets or wherever, when we get people who really want conversion, it is something I heard about at an ANA conference that I went to in Chicago last year. And there was a session by Uber. And what they do is they use CGC for their performance campaign. So they still have standard influencer campaigns where the influencers are posting on their own platforms. And that's certainly a part of what Uber does. But the guy speaking was the head of performance, or I don't know, he was very young, but was running performance.
Okay.
I don't want to give him like an unnecessary promotion. He was very smart. He was working on performance. And for performance, they do creator-generated content, so CGC. So they hire influencers. They have them create this content. It does not get posted by them.
Right.
It is fully owned by the brand forever and ever, and they can cut it any way they want. They can make longer versions and shorter versions. Most fascinating to me, they can change the voiceover to use it in a different country if they want to. And they're getting tons of content, and it's less expensive because the influencers are not posting it on their own profiles. And they can run like a true performance arbitrage type media buy with this content, where if something's converting, they can take it, make other versions of it, pop it into other languages, keep running it for a year or more because it's working, it's doing its job. And then anything that's not performing, they can drop off the bottom. To me, that's how you transition influencer into a pure performance play. Because if you're only using this content that's posted by the influencer, if something is working and is converting, you then have to pay to extend the usage. Usage is getting incredibly expensive now. Like there's so many things about I use the word traditional is confusing, but like standard influencer marketing that doesn't line up with performance, because you can't optimize in that way, where if you can't run something forever.
Right. That's a really great point, because influencer content outperforms branded content in the paid space. So you're right, it's crystallizing that, but still having that top of the funnel. You said they're still doing the traditional influencer play.
Yeah.
Within the constraints of what works there for awareness, and then taking the piece off the top that makes sense, that gorgeous content, but not just gorgeous content, accessible content, relatable content, just what we know influencers to create.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really smart.
Yeah, that's what I loved. You and I have feelings about conferences and their value. That conference was like worth every penny, because I thought that was so brilliant. We've already sold it into clients. We talked about it all. Like like epiphany.
Okay, how about this? You mentioned that in the last couple of years, the direct-to-consumer e-commerce space has exploded in a way to make this conversation come alive. What do you do for more traditional, to use that word again, clients? I always refer to Oreo. Now, they may be selling on Amazon. There may be a market for the direct-to-consumer Oreo purchase. But mostly we're talking about driving in-store. And there are some platforms that can help with in-store tracking and conversion there.
Yeah.
But how are you handling legacy, I want to call them like legacy brands, enterprise brands that are really only available at the retail level?
I mean, I think again, it's a conversation. If they are driving, if the goal is to drive consumers to retail, we're pulling in like come shop with me content. We're making it very clear that the goal is to get you to a store and look at this,
Mm-hmm.
see Jane shop at Target,
Yeah.
see her grab this Oreo and put it, or this
Right.
package of Oreos and put it in her cart. So we're doing some of that. We were talking to a client last week who has like a number of different fast food locations, and he has the ability to do promo codes because there
Mm-hmm.
is that, like, it's not just driving, like, yes, they want to get them into store, but there's also like DoorDash and ordering online and getting it delivered.
Mm.
So if there is like a coupon ability or a promo code option, there's some really cool shopping cart type um, programs where you can, we're working on one right now for our dairy client where we're having people create recipes and you can just click to add all of the ingredients to your Instacart cart.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's kind of a fun way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
then but I think for most of like those clients are not where I have the issue. Like most of them appreciate the awareness, they appreciate the engagement. They see the intent to purchase in the comments that are being left on
Mm-hmm.
that content. They're seeing how well something is performing. It's the newer pure D2C plays where there seems to be this kind of misunderstanding.
Well, and it's a perfect marriage, maybe in the technology being there, the appetite for it, and the budgets being lower. So I think they don't necessarily can't justify spending the six figures on great consumer sentiment in the comments,
Yeah.
perhaps. Yeah.
But I think, I mean, the Oreo one's a good example, right? Because you could see a piece of content and it could really make you want an Oreo. But it makes you want an Oreo in that moment. You're not going to necessarily fill an Instacart up with all the packages of Oreos but if you're going to go shopping later, you might remember to throw it in your cart.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Which is where attribution is just a black hole
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's tricky. Or, I mean, I have Oreos upstairs, so I might see that content and be like, oh, nice. I have Oreos upstairs.
We were working in our food and beverage focused days with at least one, if not a handful, of copycat recipe bloggers. And Darden actually reached out to them, loved working with them. And the sort of mindset behind it was if you do a copycat recipe of the Cheddar Bay biscuit recipe, people might say, "Ooh, I want to make that," and then look in their cupboard or look at their watch and say, "Forget that. I'm actually going out to Red Lobster to get
Right.
that." So it was a win-win. Darden actually kept asking this particular person to create recipes and work. You'd think it would be the opposite. But to your point, like there's so many places in the consumer purchase life cycle that you can lose people, or they
Right.
can substitute in what they want to do, or they can do exactly what you want them to do.
Or we did a shopping cart program with one of our dairy clients a couple of years ago, and they didn't generate a lot of sales from it. And what we realized, which is interesting, is that the recipes were wrong.
Mm.
The recipes were using dairy products that most people already have. And so in planning out the program that we're doing this year, where we made it very clear to the influencers that they need to use dairy products that people don't typically have. So 4
Okay.
cups of heavy cream.
Well,
Right?
speak for yourself. I do have that. Come on over and we'll do shots of heavy cream.
Nice.
How do you think I get this glowing skin?
Right.
Okay, so and that's not even an outlandish ingredient. It's just that it's a quantity that people might not
It's a
have.
quantity, and you might,
Yeah.
but if the ingredients are shredded cheddar, butter, and whole milk, a lot of
Yeah.
people already have that, right? But if it's,
Right.
I don't know, like I'm trying to think,
Gruyere or something.
heavy cream or buttermilk, or there's certain dairy products that people are just not as common. And so they would encourage someone to be like, oh yeah, I got to go get that if I'm going to
And
make this
you're
recipe.
they're tracking, maybe you don't want to talk about this, but they're tracking sales from your programs
Yeah.
agnostically. There's not a buy here link. You're looking at just people walking into a store.
No, this will be a buy here link.
This is the
It's being
shopping
done.
cart,
Yeah.
Instacart.
Yeah. It's being done in concert with
Okay,
Instacart.
gotcha. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Because that's the other piece is the legacy enterprise brands have so much other marketing going on. How on earth would you say that Oreo purchase was because of our Halloween, festival of Oreo recipes? It's almost
Right.
impossible.
And I mean, I don't want to like poo poo performance completely because I think influencer marketing can, like, we have an insurance client who we work with and we love, and we worked with them last year and they came back this year and they said the only thing we changed last year was we added influencer marketing with you guys and enrollment was up 12%. And so we're attributing
Fantastic.
it to you,
Yeah.
right?
But see, if I think about how I would have done a program like that, it would be with influencers who have no like trust of their consumers. So when you're trying to get them to purchase insurance or investigate insurance or trust a new insurance broker,
Right.
no better way than through influencers who are not hawking all the time, not
Right.
selling all the time, but going through the same life stages you are or the same concerns about their family that you are. So, yes, and I would argue, I think that's as much awareness, if not more, play as it is a conversion, performance play.
Yeah, their KPI is not conversion. Their
Mm,
KPI is awareness. But
there you go.
they, and other things had, like, we met all of the guarantees and estimates that we, exceeded estimates that we provided to them, and
Okay.
I like to think we're lovely to work with, and the content was great, and
Yeah,
it wasn't just this 12% piece, but it was,
right. That
and
was
that
an
wasn't even what
icing,
they were expecting or wanting, but
but it bore out. I
yeah,
mean,
and they were
that's a
happy.
great testimonial, great case study. You
Yeah.
should put that all over your website. That's great.
I'll have to ask.
Okay, so have we really sufficiently dissected this particular? Okay, if we have to choose what we're doing, are we in awareness camp or sales conversion camp, performance camp?
What I was thinking about this yesterday for something else, and for me, like, I think the sweet spot of influencer marketing is in that top and middle of funnel. So awareness and engagement.
Hmm.
I think I think that conversion piece is, sometimes if you're lucky, you're going to hit that.
Hmm.
Um
Well,
and
but I
it's not
think,
just luck, because some of, like, the content has to be great, but I just, not every not every, like, insurance is a huge expensive purchase,
hmm,
and I don't think that much as I would like to, like, take full credit for that 12% increase, like, that would not have worked without them having other, like, doing their billboards and sending out their emails and having ads on TV and
right.
promoting it through the employers and doing all the other.
And PS, having customer service agents that pick up the phone and are friendly and warm and know what they're
Right.
talking about. Like, again, once it gets out of our influencers' hands, there's a whole ecosystem that has to be in place. And I agree with you. And I think then paid can take over for the conversion piece and affiliate, but affiliate as separate from influencer, where it's a known entity and it's probably a bigger like spray and pray versus we're going to have you create all this custom bespoke content but not pay you unless it performs, which is the
Or,
watch out.
what I love is, start with a paid program, use a bunch of people on it. And if you
Yeah.
discover that a few of those creators actually do have that whatever magic touch it is where they are encouraging people to buy, invite them to be part of your affiliate, show them that data
Yeah.
and say, you know what, like, we're not doing this paid program anymore, but you participated in it. Your content, which you can keep reusing that content, your content actually converted. Here's how much money you could make. If you want to voluntarily join our affiliate program, please
Yes.
come join us. And we're happy to keep paying you a referral on
Yes.
it.
And you said so much there because that leads into the complete untapped opportunity for community building with our influencer collaborators, where you're delivering them value by saying, this is what performed well and why, and let us help you tweak it to make money on the referral side, the affiliate side, while still nurturing your influencer play over here. And I would layer into that, start thinking about those people as folks you're moving through a different kind of funnel in your influencer and marketing efforts. Do some experiential live events with them, have them sponsor them to go to conferences with you,
Yeah.
or I'm going to start riffing in ways that nobody needs right now. But there's maybe what you and I are uncovering here is none of this lives in a vacuum.
Exactly.
It has to be part of a well thought out strategy, and everything has its place. One doesn't replace the other, but they do work well together if intentionally set up to.
Yes.
Yeah, there. I think we dodged like all the possible, daggers that are coming for us for the people that are like, it's nothing but sales. Like, it is not.
It's not.
It's so much more
It's
than
a
that.
combo.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was great. And then next time, the next topic we are going to tackle is the one that came in second place, which is engagement rates. Do we care?
That's a cliffhanger.
Yes. Cliffhanger.
Do we care?
Do we care?
I bet it depends on who you are, if you care or not.
Probably.
That's for sure.
We shall see.
Well, this has been great. Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you.